Good day, everyone. I am Charlene S. Rocas, and today we will explore a very important topic which called reevaluating the value of the environment. So, for this part of the discussion, I will explain only the three spheres of sustainability, ecosystem lessons, different types of capital, and mainstream economics. So, many people often think of the environment simply as trees, rivers, or forests. But the truth is, the environment is far more valuable than we usually realize. It is the foundation of life, society, and economic development. Everything we rely on, our food, water, energy, and even the economy, depends on the health of the environment. To understand its true value, we will discuss four key areas, as what I've said earlier. So, it is the three spheres of sustainability, four types of capital, ecosystem lessons, and the fourth one is mainstream economics. So, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to see the environment not just as a resource, but as a critical, interconnected system that support life and society. So, before we start, let me introduce first the lesson objectives. So, here. Okay. So let's start with the three spheres of sustainability, which is the social, economic, and environmental. So these spheres are all interconnected, and understanding them help us see why the environment is so valuable. Now, take a look at the Venn diagram. So for the social sphere, so this includes the quality of life, culture, equity, and community well-being. A healthy environment improves human life. For example, clean air and water prevent diseases and improve health, while green spaces promote mental well being. And for the economic sphere, so the economy depends on the natural resources for the production, trade, and jobs. For instance, agriculture needs fertile soil, fisheries depend on healthy rivers and oceans, and tourism relies on natural landscapes. And for the environmental sphere, so this includes ecosystems, biodiversity, and natural resources themselves. So a strong, balanced environment ensures a society and the economy can function sustainably. Now, notice the overlap. Economic growth without environmental care can harm society, of course. So, for example, deforestation may boost timber sales but causes soil erosion, reduces biodiversity, and harm communities. So, social and environmental loss. So, sustainability is only possible when these three spheres are considered together. So, ignoring one affects the others. Now, we can also understand the environment's value through the lens of four types of capital. So, first is natural capital. So, these are resources provided by the environment, land, water, forest, minerals, and biodiversity. Like, for example, rivers supply water for drinking and irrigation, forests provide timber, and wetlands filter pollutants. Second is human capital. So our knowledge, skills, and health allow us to manage resources responsibly. Education and training help people innovate sustainable solutions like renewable energy or waste management. And the third one is built or financial capital. So roads, buildings, tools, and technology depend on a natural resources. A bridge or factory sorry, a bridge or factory cannot exist without raw materials. And for the fourth one is social capital. So network, trust, and cultural norms help communities work together to protect and manage resources. For example, communities that organize to clean rivers or plant trees show the value of the social capital. So neglecting any one type of capital weakens sustainability. To truly value the environment, of course, we must consider all four types of capital. And now let's proceed to the ecosystem lessons. So nature itself teaches us lesson about sustainability, which can guide human decisions. Waste can become a resource. So in ecosystem, one organism waste is another organism's food. So for humans, this means composting, recycling, or turning waste into energy. So energy comes from the sun. So sunlight powers ecosystem through photosynthesis. For humans, this inspire the use of solar, wind, or hydro energy renewable sources that reduce harm to the environment. Diversity provides stability, so ecosystems with many species are more resilient to changes. So, similarly, social and economic systems benefit from diversity, innovation, and multiple solution. So, ignoring one part of an ecosystem affect the whole system, of course. So, for humans, this means that deforestation, overfishing, or pollution has ripple effects that impact society and the economy. So, by observing nature, we learn that the environment is efficient, interconnected, and resilient, making it incredibly valuable beyond monetary terms. And now, let's look at the mainstream economics and why it matters when we evaluate the environment. Economics studies how goods and services are produced, distributed, and consumed. Traditional measures like gross domestic product, or we can call it GDP, focus only on production and ignore the cost to the environment. For example, a factory may increase GDP, but if it pollutes a river, destroys forests, or harms health, these costs are hidden. So, by considering natural, human, built, and social capital, we can assign a real value to the environment. This helps policymakers, businesses, and communities make decisions that protect resources and promote sustainability. For example, investing in renewable energy may be costly upfront but reduces environmental damage, support jobs, and ensure long-term prosperity. So to sum it up, reevaluating the environment means seeing as a vital, interconnected system that sustains life, supports society, and enables economic growth. So, by valuing the environment properly, we can make smarter choices, protect resources, and ensure a sustainable future for ourselves and generations to come. So, that's all for my part, and the remaining parts of the lesson will be discussed by my co reporters. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Now let's proceed to GDP, GPI, and externalities. Let's discuss first the GDP. So what is GDP? The GDP, or gross domestic product, measures the total value of goods and services produced in a country. It focuses only on economic output and ignores factors like health, education, and environmental quality. Next is the GPI, or Genuine Progress Indicator. It adjusts economic performance by including social and ecological well-being. It shows a clearer picture of progress than GDP because it accounts for things like environmental damage and social cost. And then the externalities. Externalities, these are the hidden costs of development that are not reflected in GDP. Examples include pollution, deforestation, and disease, which affect overall well-being. Now, let's tackle about the precautionary principle. So what is precautionary principle? Precautionary principle is a guiding idea that says better safe than sorry. It means we should take preventive measures when we're not entirely sure about the possible risk of an action or new product. Act with care in using new products. This means handle or introduce new things cautiously by testing them first. Prove safety before wide application. You need to make sure something is safe before using it on a large scale. And then protect people and environment. The goal is to safeguard both humans and nature from harm. Prevent unknown future risks. This means it tries to stop unforeseen dangers that might appear later. Prevention is cheaper than repair. It's more cost effective to avoid problems than to fix them after they happen. And then lastly, safety comes before profit or growth. Prioritize safety over financial gain or business expansion. Now let's proceed to our last topic, the triple bottom line. The triple bottom line is a framework that expands the focus of business development beyond just profit. This includes the three key dimensions: the people, planet, and the Prophet. The people emphasizes human rights, well-being, and social equity, while the planet stresses protecting natural resources and ecosystems for environmental sustainability, and the Prophet seeks a fair and sustainable economic return. The three pillars must be balanced to achieve true sustainability, guiding organizations to integrate social, environmental, and economic performance in decision making. So, that is all about our topic. And the next topic will be discussed by Miss Sabello.
And now let's move on to environmental worldviews. So first is anthropocentric. So anthropocentric is a worldview that places human at the center of environmental concern. So nature is important because it supports human needs such as food, shelter, and economic growth. For example is a city clears a forest to build houses and roads to improve people's living condition. And next is ecocentric. So ecocentric is a worldview that values ecosystem as a whole. So human as part of nature and ecosystem must be protected to maintain balance. So for example is a government protects wetlands because they support wildfire and prevent flooding. And biocentric is a worldview that believes all human living believes that all living organisms have equal value. So human, animals, and plants all have the right to live and should be respected. So for example is an organization oppose animal cruelty and deforestation to protect all forms of life. And then technocentric, a worldview that relies on technology to solve environmental problems. So scientific innovation is seen as the key to address environmental challenges. So using renewable, for example, is using renewable energy like electric vehicles and carbon capture technology to reduce pollution. And then worldviews shapes choices and policy. So environmental beliefs influences decisions and laws. So leaders create policies based on how they value humans, nature, or technology. For example, for that is a technocentric government invests heavily in green technology. And then next is views affect environmental action. So beliefs guides how people treat the environment. Actions such as conservation, explorations depends on one's worldview. For example, for that is an ecocentric persons practice recycling and conservation. And then lastly is balance of views aids sustainability. So sustainability is achieved by combining different worldviews. So balancing human needs, ecosystem protection, and technology leads to a better solution. So for example, for that is developing eco-friendly industries that provide jobs while protecting nature. Now, let's move on to reevaluating production and consumption. So, sustainable economy needs new thinking. So, economic system must reduce harm to environment. Traditional methods cause pollution and reduce duplication. For example, for that is business shifting to eco-friendly products and producer and consumer ethics rules. Both companies and buyers share responsibility. So, producer must design sustainable products and consumer must choose wisely. For example, for that is consumers buying reusable products instead of single-use plastic. And then linear cycle extraction. So first is production waste. A traditional production system where materials are used once and discarded. So it leads to excessive waste and pollution. For example, for that is a single-use plastic bottles thrown into landfills. And then linear system creates emissions and pollution. So this system releases harmful substances into the environment. So factories and waste for produced air, water, and land pollutions. Like, for example, for that is smoke emissions from factories producing disposable goods. And then closed loop cycle, recycle, reuse, recover, and recycle. So a system where materials are used instead of thrown away. So waste is reduced by turning old products into new ones. For example, for that is recycling plastic bottles into new containers or clothing. So save raw materials and reduce landfills waste. Closed loop system conserve resources. So fewer natural resources are extracted and less waste is dumped. For example, for that is using recycled paper to reduce tree cutting. And lastly is support long-term sustainability. So ensures resources are available for future generations. Sustainable system protect the environmental over time. So for example, for that is using renewable energy instead of fossil fuels. And now let's move on to the last topic, which is Sustainable Development Goals, or SGD. So global goals for sustainability. So international goals set by the United Nations. So they aim to improve life while protecting the planet. So for example, for that is program addressing poverty, health, and climate change. So SGD, clean water and sanitation. So ensures access to safe water and sanitation. Clean water is essential for health and survival. So example for this is building clean water system in rural areas. And then SGD, responsible consumption and production. So promotes efficient resources use and waste reduction. So encourage sustainable lifestyle. So example for that is recycling and reducing food waste. And then SGD, urgent climate action needed. So calls for immediate actions against climate change. So climate change is threatening life and ecosystem. So for example for that is reducing carbon emissions and planting trees. And then goals link social, economic, environment. So SGDs connect all aspects of development. So progress in one area supports other. So example for that is clean energy improves health and economy. Small actions support global change. So individual efforts matter. So small steps add up to big impact. So example for that is saving electricity and water at home. And student can act for sustainability. Student play an important role in sustainability. So awareness and action can influence society. For example for that is joining a cleanup drives and practicing waste segregation.